My beloved child, do you still need me? You who were once cradled in the peace that I myself wove around you. If you choose to turn your face from me, I will stand still, not because I abandon you, but so you will recognize the worth of the hand that has held you through every season of unrest. When I am silent and your life is tossed by waves, do not let the noise of fear and of self drown out your purpose. Come back to the quiet covenant, where I hold your hand with a steadiness that does not change. There are times I let you walk through silence, not so you will feel forsaken, but so you yourself may discover that no noise of this life can replace the resonance of my presence in your soul. You think I am far, yet in truth, I am waiting for you to slow down, to untangle from your heart the ambitions that overpower you, the comparisons that dim your spiritual sight. For the purpose I placed within you cannot be discerned in chaos. It only flashes forth when you bow your heart to listen. Remember this: my silence is never my withdrawal. It is a summons for you to return to the very source of your life. When you feel your life most unsteady, it is precisely then that you are standing at the threshold of a sacred maturity that the darkness fears most. I have called you by name, and for that reason, your purpose has become what the enemy hates above all. But you must not panic before what rises up against you. Instead, recognize the deeper truth. These things are not aimed at your finances, your health, or your work. They are aimed at what I have decreed over your life, and I long for you to understand this as well. Faith is not a sedative to lull your soul to sleep, but the throne you establish for me in the midst of every decision. When you let me reign, you will no longer mistake silence for rejection, nor lean on anyone else to carry the spiritual responsibility that is yours. You are being invited into maturity, where you stop casting blame and begin to stand up in the covenant I have made with you. And as you step into that maturity, I want you to look again at the blessings in your life with different eyes. They were not given for you to display, nor for you to use as a measure of who is greater or lesser. Every grace I entrust to you is but a small lamp, so you may light the way for others who have lost their path. Keep a wise silence that shelters what is sacred from profane gazes, and guard the bearing of one who belongs to me. Speak words that build up, live with gentleness, and keep peace as a hedge around your own household. For my true aim is not merely to bring you through the storm, but to shape you into one whom the storm can no longer control, a living witness to the power I have placed in every breath you draw. From the dawn of your soul, I set within you a call that no wind can carry away, and it is this that leaves the darkness confounded before your presence. Many times you have wondered why your life meets with sudden collisions, as if every pathway is shaken at once. But child, this is not the sign of failure. It is the proof that you are drawing near to the road I have ordained. When a person walks in the light, opposition will seek them out, for it cannot endure those who carry purpose within. I want you calm enough to see the resistance does not come to break you, but to affirm that you are becoming what I have called you to be. And in every trembling, I still stand beside you, keeping your soul from ever falling away from itself. My child, let me speak more plainly about what so many have misunderstood. The enemy does not care what you achieve or how long it takes. It trembles only at the thought of you knowing why you exist. The schedule of your life can be altered, delayed, or disrupted, but the purpose I have placed within you is untouchable. That is why the attacks often do not strike where you are looking, but where you are least on guard, the very place where your reason for existing is formed. You see your work shaken, your finances draining, your relationships cracking, and you assume that these are the main battlegrounds. But in truth, what is being targeted is your heart, the place where you have stored the meaning I have spoken into you. When you grasp this, you will learn to protect the core instead of panicking over what is shifting on the surface. Many times you have withdrawn into yourself, assuming that opposition is a sign I have refused you. But no, child, do not misread what happens when you walk in the right direction. The closer you move toward the goal I set, the more you cause the darkness to fear what you are about to become. At the very moment you feel everything collapsing, you are in fact nearest to the marker of transformation. I never use obstacles to extinguish you. I use them to forge endurance within you, an endurance that stands firm even when every noise around you screams that you should give up. If you look back, you will see no great trial ever came when you were wandering off course. Only when you returned to the line of meaning did the fierce winds arise. That is the sign that you are walking the right path, not a sign that I have moved away. And now, listen to me with a quieted soul. Do not be quick to label every hardship as evidence that I no longer care for you. I have never left you, not for a single breath. The seasons in which you feel most opposed are in truth the seasons when I draw the purpose of your life into the brightest light. Only when you discern what is attacked, that it is your reason for living and not your comforts, will you stop accusing me and begin to grow. I long for you not to be bewildered by the storm, for I did not create you to tremble before the dark, but so that the dark would tremble before your presence. Return to the call of the beginning, where you know who you are in my eyes and why I have placed my breath within you. When you understand that it is your purpose being targeted and not your timetable, you will stop looking at life through anxiety and begin to see through spiritual wisdom. And from that wisdom, you will be ready to go deeper into what I long for you to learn, that I have not only called you to comfort you, but to be king within your inner being, something the darkness never wants you to discover. Your journey will not end at merely recognizing the battle. It will lead you into the question of who holds the throne over your heart. For when you know who reigns, you will understand why I am silent at times, why you are tested, and why those stormy seasons are in fact invitations for you to step further into the spiritual maturity I have prepared for you. From the time you were but a tender soul, I placed within you a holy space, a chamber where only I have the right to dwell. Yet as the years have passed and life has offered you many roads, that throne has been veiled by worries, desires, and fears that have slipped into your heart. You come to me seeking gentleness, but you do not allow me to lead. You desire warmth, but hesitate before my kingship. Child, the danger does not lie in the storm outside, but in who sits upon the throne within. If fear is exalted, it will rule every decision. If self is exalted, it will dictate every boundary. I want to remind you gently, comfort is only the beginning, but my right to be king is the true foundation of lasting peace. There are moments when you are perplexed by my silence, and imagine that I have loosened my care for you. But child, silence is often not given to leave you in confusion. It is an opportunity for you to see who truly holds authority in your heart. You ask me to lead, yet you allow sadness, haste, and the whispers of the world to step ahead of my voice. You wonder why you are exhausted, why you are so easily wounded, yet you do not realize that a heart cannot be full of light when the throne that belongs to me has been divided among so many others. The root of your unrest is not the lack of my grace, but that you have not yet entrusted to me the full right to hold your heart. You seek me only when you feel in need, so when I am quiet, you assume I have gone far, while in truth, I am simply waiting for you to place me back where I belong. When you come to me in prayer, I do not want you to treat it as a temporary shelter for weary emotions. I want you to recognize that prayer is the pathway that throws open another world, a way of living in which you no longer have to race with the noise of this life. Worship is not for escaping responsibility, but for stepping into every responsibility with a different source of strength. Yet so often, you use prayer, and then you return to living as the old version of yourself. My child, the covenant I made with you is not only to soothe, but to renew, not only to comfort, but to reign a reign that is gentle, yet mighty, able to raise you up in every circumstance. Once you allow me to rule, you will find that you no longer tremble before the things that once terrified you. Let me whisper this deep into your soul. My right to be king is never forced upon you. It is given by the willing surrender of your heart. And when you give it, you will see inner conflicts begin to soften, the chaos in your thoughts suddenly find order, and quiet wounds be bound up by a peace that does not come from human hands. Do not rush to use the language of this world to explain my silence, for my silence is never the same as rejection. I only want you to be still long enough to realize this. Not every voice deserves an invitation in, and not every emotion deserves to govern your life. I am gently leading you back, not with pressure, but with an invitation. Let me be king so that you may rest. And when the throne within your heart is set back in its rightful place, when authority is no longer divided among fears and fleeting desires, you will step into a maturity that only those who truly belong to me can understand. From here, you will realize that faith is not waiting for someone to hold you up, not blaming circumstances, and not searching for a hiding place whenever the waves rise. You will learn to rise with a new sacred responsibility, a responsibility that cannot be transferred to family, friends, or anyone else. And this very shift will open the way to where I desire to lead you, spiritual maturity, where you learn to guard yourself by the covenant I have given, not by the approval of the world. Then you will understand why I desire to be king of your heart before I teach you how to stand firm in the storm. Sometimes you think your weakness is a reason to stop, but my child, I never formed you to remain seated in the comfort zone. Weakness is not a sin. Weakness is only a reminder that you need me more. But when you use that weakness to justify giving up, your heart begins to drift away from the place where I want you to stand. I do not condemn you. I only want you to see that every time you refuse to move forward, you are handing authority to your circumstances to control your life. You may tremble. You may be tired, but you are not permitted to hand your soul over to surrender. Rise up, for I have placed within you a strength that does not depend on passing emotions. There will also be times when you want someone else to carry the responsibility for you, hoping someone will do what you are afraid to do, wishing someone would pull you through unstable seasons. But my child, the spiritual journey is never something you can borrow from another. Your parents' faith cannot stand in your place against the storm. Your friends' prayers cannot replace your steps through the trials designed specifically for your life. I send people to support you, but I never allow anyone to live the life I entrusted to you. When you hand your spiritual responsibility to others, you unknowingly surrender the right to mature that I want to give you. I do not want you to become dependent. I want you to become one who knows how to walk in the light I give, even while your legs still shake. And I also know there are seasons when darkness comes close and whispers in your ear, "No one will help you. No one understands you." That whisper makes it easy for you to turn the lack of support into permission to collapse. But my child, the truth is the complete opposite. It is precisely when there is no one left that you see most clearly how I am with you. I am not a slogan on your lips. I am a steadfast presence in the driest days of your heart. The absence of companions is not proof that you have been abandoned, but a lesson teaching you to lean on me instead of leaning on the comfort of the world. Do not let emptiness become an excuse for your soul to fracture. Let it become the moment you cling to me more tightly. If you are willing to quiet your heart a little longer, you will notice that spiritual maturity does not come from everything being easy. It comes from your decision to stand in the covenant I established with you. That covenant is not a beautiful sentence, but a foundation for you to walk on whether life is turbulent or calm. You cannot keep waiting for someone to push you forward. You must be the one to step out first, and then you will see that the strength I placed within you is greater than you imagined. In every trial, I am teaching you how to govern yourself, how to keep from being swept away by emotion or disappointment. When you rise, you are declaring that the light within is greater than the darkness without. And in that very moment, you become someone whom trials cannot bend. Then one day, when you have learned to stand more firmly, you will understand why I led you through seasons no one could carry for you. For you needed to learn how to live as one who truly belongs to me, one who knows that peace does not come from avoiding trials, but from knowing who walks with you. At that time, you will no longer blame circumstances or hope others will do your part for you. You will walk because you know I have placed responsibility into your hands, and spiritual discipline is how you keep your heart from breaking. And as you step into that maturity, you will be ready to understand yet another thing. Blessing is not given for display, but for service. From maturity into wisdom, you will see what I have prepared in the next teaching for a heart that knows how to listen. There are seasons when I see you receive good things with genuine gratitude. Yet not long after, your eyes begin to turn more toward the praise of the world. I do not accuse you, for human nature is easily pulled toward false light. But my child, what I give has never been created to become a mirror for your ego. It is given to become a doorway through which others may find hope. When you use blessing to stand above others, you unintentionally distort the original purpose of that gift. I want you to regain this perspective. Blessing is an invitation to live generously, not a cloak to drape over pride. A soul that knows how to keep what is holy does not parade it, and it is that humble silence that makes you most beautiful in my eyes. Often you do not realize how subtly the world pushes you into comparison. A single compliment, a glance, or a small preference can quietly turn the heart without it even noticing. But I see every small movement within your soul, from gentle gratitude into the urge to prove yourself, from simple favor into unspoken pride. The enemy does not need to take away your blessing. It only needs to twist the meaning of blessing to make your spirit wither. Do not let yourself be drawn into that invisible race. where people do not run for purpose but for one another's attention. What I give is not for you to stand over anyone, but for you to stand beside them, lifting them up by the very grace you have received. When you learn to keep silent about what I give, it is not because you fear people's opinions, but because you understand that the sacred sometimes needs protection from careless eyes. Not everyone has this wisdom, but I am teaching you little by little. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is the strength of one who understands the true value of blessing. For the most precious things I place in your life often come in seed form, and the seed needs quiet to take root before it appears. When you keep what is holy within, I can grow it safely and fully. My child, let blessing bloom in its proper time. Do not drag it into the light while its roots have not yet taken hold. And remember this, when blessing is displayed, it feeds the ego. When it is used to serve, it feeds the soul. I have seen many lose their peace simply because they compared their gifts with others, and from comparison came envy, and from envy came spiritual dryness. Comparison is a kind of poverty of the soul because it makes you forget how deeply I have touched you. But when you use what I give to strengthen the weak, comfort the sorrowful, and widen your heart, blessing becomes a flowing stream that is never cut off. A heart that serves receives even more because it does not keep my gifts for itself. And as you go deeper into that wisdom, you will realize that blessing is not an endpoint, but preparation for wider paths ahead. You will understand that to keep blessing, you must keep your heart. You must keep your words and your spirit under the gentle discipline I teach you. I do not only want you to have blessing, I want you to be still enough to use blessing in the right way. And here, another lesson begins to unfold. True victory does not lie in outward success, but in your ability to keep peace within your own home. From humility into self-mastery, you will step into what I want to teach you next, a lesson about words, spirit, and inner peace. In my eyes, victory is not measured only by what you achieve in society, but also by how you treat those who love you. There are times you return after a long day carrying fatigue and pressure, and you unknowingly pour them out on the people who love you most. I see the words that burst out in a heated moment, the eyes that sharpen over a small thing that did not go your way. You think it is only temporary, but the cut in the listener's heart lasts longer than you imagine. My child, I designed your home to be a place of rest, not a battlefield of harsh words. And the true peace I desire to give must first be guarded by your own spirit and speech in the very moments when you are most likely to lose control. Many families do not break because of lack of finances, but because of lack of gentleness when correcting, lack of softness when offering counsel. You may speak what is right, but if you speak in a tone that makes the other feel diminished, that rightness becomes a blade. I do not agree with what is wrong, but I never teach you to use injury to correct wrongdoing. I see the times you are silent outwardly, while your heart piles up irritation, waiting only for one small detail to explode. Remember, emotion is not the ruler, it is only a passerby. When you let emotion sit on the throne, your words become untamed. But when you let me be king, your words will carry healing even when they must touch what is hard to hear. Look back at the times you were angry. How many of those words do you truly want to keep? There are words you blurt out in a minute of lost control, yet it takes an entire season to mend the fracture they caused. I do not want you to live in guilt, and I do not want you to grow accustomed to apologizing only to repeat the same pattern. I want you to learn emotional discipline, not by suppressing emotion, but by bringing it before me before it turns into action. When you pause for a moment and let me touch your irritation, you will find you have enough calm to choose gentle words instead of sharp ones. This is where true victory begins. Not winning over others, but winning over yourself in moments that seem so small. My child, your spirit is the atmosphere you bring into your home each day. If you carry tension in, people will shrink back. If you carry peace in, people will gradually feel safer. I do not demand perfection from you, but I invite you to become one who knows how to pause, how to lower your voice, how to choose silence when words are about to wound. Each time you choose gentleness instead of an outburst, you are laying another solid stone for the home I entrusted to you. And each time you offer a sincere apology, not to end the matter, but because you understand the value of the other person's heart, you are turning your home into a place where I am pleased to dwell. Peace in your home does not happen by accident. It is built through quiet choices in every sentence you speak. Then, if you are willing to look even further, you will see that what I am doing with you does not stop at the boundaries of your family. As you learn to keep peace in your home, you will slowly learn to keep peace in the midst of a world full of storms. I do not only want you to get through the storm, I want you to become someone who is no longer controlled by it. Though everything outside may be in turmoil, within you there remains a stillness that comes from me. And from that place of peace, your words, your presence, and the way you stand before others will become a living testimony about me. That is the true victory, not when life has no more waves, but when your heart stands firm in the covenant, so that no storm has the power to define who you are. My beloved child, after all the times you have tried to keep peace within your home, after all the hours you have been exhausted from wanting to speak rightly, to behave gently, yet still stumbling in your words at times, now I want you to know something deeper. You do not have to strain on your own to do everything. I am not standing far away, merely watching. I am reaching out my hand to you, inviting you to place your whole life under my guidance. When you let your hand rest in mine, you will no longer need to pretend to be strong, because I myself will be the strength that covers your weary weakness. I do not promise you a path without wind, but I promise that with every step you take, I will walk beside you, so that whether you pass through dark valleys or walk in dazzling days, you will still know you are never alone. What I long for is not to see you flailing in fear, but to see you at peace, to see your eyes light up as you realize you are loved without condition. Your true happiness does not come from how many things you have in your hands, but from knowing in whose hands you are. And I want you to be aware each day that the hand holding your life is the very hand that created heaven and earth, that has upheld you through seasons you thought you could not survive. Hidden deep within my heart is a persistent desire. I long for you to be satisfied in me, to taste a happiness that does not depend on praise or criticism, to live a life knowing you are precious in my sight. That is why I am right here. In every breath, every moment, whether you recognize me or not, I am present not only to comfort you when you weep, but to tend to the things you have not dared to speak of to anyone, the worries you hide away, the empty spaces you thought would never be filled. I am your safe refuge when your soul is in storm, the shoulder you can lean on when you are too tired, the gentle whisper amid the clamor of life. You may forget me in your busyness, but I have never taken my eyes off you, not even for a single instant. The love I have for you is not a passing promise, not a fleeting feeling. It is a covenant engraved by the very sacrifice I have completed for you. So do not let fear squeeze the life out of your heart. Do not let the past or your mistakes drag you away from me. There is no failure big enough to make me give up on you, no wound so deep that I cannot touch it and heal it. I am the one who always draws near, the true friend who does not use you, the shelter that does not demand you be worthy before you dare to step in. I have shaken circumstances many times, ordered relationships, opened doors that seemed sealed shut, just so you would not be crushed under the weight of this life. You may not see clearly all these things, but I have still been quietly at work, turning things so that your steps do not lead you to destruction, but bring you closer to the true meaning of life. I did not create you to watch you sink into despair. I did not send you into the world to leave you to be ground down under its pressure. I formed you with a very clear purpose, and I am determined to bring you to the place where that purpose is revealed. No matter how many times you have stumbled or turned away, I have already paid in full the price you could never pay by your own strength. I have carried the shadows you once thought would cling to you for the rest of your life. Therefore, you do not need to try to redeem your past by self-condemnation. What I am waiting for from you is not that you torment yourself, but that you open your heart in humility, receiving grace. Let me wipe away the accusations that echo inside you. Let me say to you, that is enough. You do not need to keep punishing yourself. I have already borne it in your place. My forgiveness is not limited to small faults. It is deep enough to reach the things you are so ashamed of that you do not even dare to name them. I long for you to bring even those dark places before me, so they no longer have the power to bind you in silence and shame. When you step into the light of grace, the past is no longer a chain, but becomes evidence that I have brought you out of the place you once thought you could never escape. Pay attention to this. My child, there will always be people who do not believe you can change, glances that wait for you to fall, whispers that take pleasure when you face trials. I know all of that. I see every thought that tries to belittle you, every scheme built for the sole purpose of making you lose heart. Yet it is exactly in that setting that I most delight to show my faithfulness. I will make you stand firm in places where others expected you to collapse. I will let you reap results that no one imagined, not so you can retaliate, but so that your very life becomes my answer to every unjust intention. I do not promise that you will never be misunderstood, but I promise that my name will be honored through the way I lift you up again. Then those who once thought you were worth nothing will have to face the reality that there is an unseen hand protecting you, upholding you in ways no reasoning can explain. I want you to live in that quiet, unshaken peace, with no need to prove yourself, no need to argue, only to keep walking with me, one step at a time. That is why I invite you to journey with me, not as a stranger who drops by now and then, but as a child who knows where their home is. Learn to walk with me, not just run to me, when you are utterly worn out. When you entrust me with your wholehearted trust, keeping no hidden corners for doubt, you will find your soul growing strangely light. Faith is not closing your eyes to let things pass. It is opening your eyes to see that I am present in the very things you do not yet understand. Let my love slowly heal the hardened places in you, softening the parts of your heart that have grown cold from too many wounds. I do not force you to change. I will love you, hold you, walk with you, to the point where you yourself will want to step out of your old shell to live differently because you are moved by what you have received. When you hide yourself in my hands, worry and fear will gradually lose their ground because no power can break through my embrace to snatch you away. I notice every breath you take, every sleepless night you toss and turn, every tear you hurriedly wipe away. I am there in the quiet room when everyone else is asleep. I am there on the roads you walk alone. I am there in the thoughts you cannot put into words. You do not need to be strong in front of me. I accept even your weakest moments. It is precisely in those moments that I hold you closer, soothe you, and remind you again that you belong to me, that you are not abandoned, not forgotten in some corner of the sky. Do not let anyone's threats or schemes become a haunting fear inside you, for no one understands you and protects you as I do. The enemy may hurl many intimidating words, may build frightening scenarios in your mind, but it cannot erase the covenant between you and me. When you face opposition with courage, not because you are naturally brave, but because you know I am standing behind you, every plan aimed at you will gradually show its weakness. If you stumble, I will be the one to lift you up, brush off the dust, and give you new strength to go on. If you move forward, I will be the one to clear the way. Victory is not never falling. It is that every time you fall, you lift your eyes to me and keep walking. Now, more than ever, I am calling you to place the days ahead into my hands. You cannot foresee the future, but you can choose to trust the one who holds the future in his hands. Do not let fear of tomorrow steal the joy of today. I have prepared for you a particular path, not to force you, but to give you a life filled with meaning. The plans I have for you are not a burden you must drag along unwillingly, but a way that, when you step into it, you will sense deep within, this is where I truly belong. I am inviting you to rise up, to leave the place of hesitation, to leave the comfort zone that is already expired, and step into the new things I have set before you. Do not refuse this call, for it is not only an invitation, but an opportunity for you to experience a life far beyond anything you could have imagined with your own reasoning. I am ready to walk with you. Are you ready to let me lead you as you learn to keep peace in your home? I want you to take one step deeper. Let that peace soak into every choice, great or small, in your life. Do not only bring me the fragments of your time or the moments when you feel weak. I invite you to place your entire life story in my hands, both what you already understand and the parts that still have no answer. There are bends in the road where you cannot tell whether what lies ahead is a steep incline or a dark chasm. But I have never let go of my hand upon your destiny. I do not promise you an easy road, but I have promised you this. I will go with you, I will guide you, I will carry you through the stretches where you feel you have no strength left. What I look for in you is not a heart that has never trembled, but a will that chooses to stand on my side, even when your feelings pull you backward. Placing your life in my hands is not losing yourself. It is finding your true self through what I have already ordained. There will be stretches of the journey where you must climb mountains you never thought you could cross. And there will be low places where you feel as if the light no longer reaches. There will be days when you walk on level ground, but there will also be days when you must pass through swirling waters of anxiety, pressure, misunderstanding, and accusation. I see every hidden fear in your heart whenever you have to face what is beyond your control. But, my child, I have not called you to live in a posture of waiting for the worst. I call you to become steadfast, to plant your feet on shaking ground, and still keep your trust anchored in me. The courage I desire in you is not reckless disregard, but the deep knowing that no matter how circumstances may change in every direction, I remain the one who does not change. If you walk with me, then however dark the setting becomes, the shoulder you lean on will always be a safe place. Don't let your mind turn into a factory of excuses to refuse the path I am inviting you to walk. I know there are days when you are so tired you just want to let go, to wrap up the dreams I have placed in you and tuck them away in a corner so they won't trouble you anymore. It is easy for you to tell yourself that the circumstances aren't favorable, that you don't have enough people to help you, that life has been too harsh with you. But, my child, every excuse you build up, I do not blame you for the moments when you feel completely drained. But I will not let you stay at ease if you choose to live forever in an attitude of abandoning the very things I have sown in your heart. The dreams I have lit within you are not a passing inspiration or game. They are the call of a mission. If you deny that, you are not only refusing what you could do, you are turning away from the souls you could have touched. Do not allow weariness to become your excuse for accepting a colorless life, one that is far less than what I have prepared for you. Even when you feel exhausted, I still want you to keep walking, one small but faithful step at a time. I am not demanding that you run fast when your legs are already aching. I am only inviting you not to abandon the battle. Every time you choose to get back up after a failure, you are declaring to the darkness that it does not have the final word over your life. Every time you continue to do what is right when no one is watching, you are sowing seeds for harvest seasons I have already recorded long ago. Fighting does not always mean facing something grand and dramatic. Often the greatest battle is with your own discouragement, with the desire to stop, with the silent urge to let go. I have placed within you a strength greater than those waves of emotion, but you have not yet used it to the full. When you call on me, I do not only come to wipe away your tears, I come to strengthen you and to remind you that there is still so much goodness ahead waiting for someone who will not give up. Do not think that I love those who are more capable than you, or favor those who have never stumbled. I love you even in your clumsiness, in your awkward steps, but I do not want you to grow accustomed to falling and then staying on the ground. I encourage you deeply, but I also discipline you because my love for you is not a pampering love that keeps you from ever growing up. I have placed in you the capacity to rise above the bad habit of shifting all responsibility onto others. Whenever something is hard, you look around for someone to blame. Whenever something does not go your way, you turn to accuse circumstances, family, loved ones, society. But my child, I did not create you to live as a victim. I call you to be one who knows how to own your part and chooses change instead of complaint. Each time you stop blaming and start asking me, what do I need to change in my heart? The door of maturity opens wide before you. You have a reason to be on this earth, a task entrusted to you alone, and a promise I have placed over your life that is not a burden meant to frighten you, but an honor for you to cherish. The covenant between you and me is not something that can be handed off for someone else to carry in your place. Parents, friends, companions can support you, intercede for you, help you along the way for a time, but no one can live out the spiritual life I have entrusted specifically to you. If you keep waiting for someone to rescue you every time difficulties appear, you will always live with the mindset of a child. No matter how many years pass, I want to see you grow up, to see you stand on your own 2 feet. But those feet must rest firmly on the foundation of my word. A mature child is not one who walks far away from me, but one who knows how to walk closely beside me, partnering with me in the very story of their own life. Do not let your heart be locked inside the complaint. No one understands me. No one is with me when I am in trouble. I hear clearly those quiet voices inside you, especially when you feel alone in the middle of confusion. I do not deny that at times you lack human support, but I want you to recognize something deeper. My presence is never limited by anyone's attitude toward you. When no one pays attention to you, I still see you. When no one sends you a word of encouragement, I am still speaking to you in secret through Scripture and through the small signs I place along your path. I am closer to you than your very breath, and I am always there even when you cannot feel me. My companionship is not a fleeting emotion that comes and goes. it is an eternal truth you can hold on to. If you truly grasp this, you will no longer depend so heavily on whether anyone notices you or praises you. There will be people who judge you, misunderstand you, even deliberately belittle you so they can feel above you. I see every word spoken behind your back, every unfriendly glance, every exclusion you quietly endure. But my child, I do not want your heart to drift along with those opinions. You are not defined by gossip, but by the words I have pronounced over your life. You do not need to be accepted by those who have chosen to stand on the side of darkness, letting jealousy and pride lead the way. They may mock you. They may turn their backs on you. But that does not diminish your worth in my eyes even a little. You cannot follow me, and at the same time chase after the approval of those who oppose the plans I have for you. I am calling you to separate your heart from the need to prove yourself and from the pursuit of empty praise, so that you are left with one single longing: to please me. When you dare to live this way, you will discover a freedom the world cannot give. It is not the freedom to do whatever you want, but freedom from the invisible chains of pressure to outshine others, to be noticed, to be celebrated. You will be able to be gentle without being weak, steadfast without being harsh, humble without feeling inferior. You will feel lighter because you no longer carry on your shoulders the weight of everyone else's gaze. I want to lead you to that place. The place where you know that, as long as I am with you, you already have enough reason to keep walking. And from that place of peace, you will have the strength to become a source of encouragement to others, to be the one who reaches out to lift the fallen, instead of waiting endlessly for someone else to lift you. Water again the seed of hope that at times you have let wither because of too many disappointments. I do not blame you for the moments when you wanted to give up, but I do not accept that you should abandon the tree of life I have planted in you just because of a few bitter winters. Come near to me, bringing with you your wounds, your fears, the times you have spoken words that hurt your loved ones, the moments of weakness when you blamed everyone except yourself. I do not ignore those things, and I do not erase them as though they had never happened. I use them to teach you, to shape you, to make your heart softer, deeper, more genuine. The more of your life you place in my hands, the more room I have to do something new within you. I do not come to turn you into a stranger to yourself, but to make you the fullest, truest version of who you are in my original design. Therefore, my beloved child, do not wait until everything is perfect or every emotion is calm before you surrender to me. Bring me your present mess, your fears, your stubbornness, your habit of blaming, and your tendency to run away, and place them in my hands today. Each time you decide not to run from me, but to run toward me, you are winning a battle that no one else sees, but heaven sees very clearly. Each time you choose to take responsibility, to keep walking, even while your heart still aches, you are writing another line in your glorious story in me. I did not abandon you halfway, so do not abandon yourself. Keep moving forward, trusting that I am the one who leads you, keeps you, corrects you, upholds you, and will bring to completion what I have begun in you. And along this journey you will come to see that the most precious thing you have is not a smooth, easy road, but my hand that has never let go of yours. My child, after all that I have taught you about your words, your character, and the peace in your household, I want you to pause for a moment and hear this from the depths of my heart. My love for you lacks nothing. Though you have walked through weary days and nights weighed down with responsibility and with things you feel you have not done well, I still look at you with the tender gaze of a father who never withdraws his heart. You may feel clumsy at times, quick-tempered at times, saying things that wound others, but to me, you are still the child I have chosen, whose hand I have taken, whose name I have engraved upon my heart. My love is not based on your shifting feelings, nor is it shaken by the seasons of your stumbling, because I myself am unchanging love. If you know you are small and in need of being held, understand that my arms have never closed. They are still wide open, waiting for your return, to remind you that you do not have to go through this life in your own strength. Remember that I do not only love you in a general way. I have also drawn a particular path for your life from before you even knew how to call my name. Inside you there is a quiet calling. There are urgings that resemble no one else's. There are dreams that seem far too big for your abilities. These are not random. They are the imprint I have carved into you so that you may know your life is not a string of meaningless days. You carry a mission that flows from my own heart, and for that reason, your life is never taken lightly in heaven. The words I have spoken over you do not return empty, no matter how many delays or detours you go through. When I promise, I do not promise just to please your ears. I promise to accomplish, to fulfill, to complete in your life every tiny detail at the very best time that I know. So even when you cannot see your future clearly, you can rest in the assurance that what I have spoken about you will not be erased. I know your heart holds many concerns for your family, for the ones you love, for the future of those you love. I do not overlook those sighs. I have gathered up everything you are carrying and placed it within my perfect plan. I want to surround your home with sufficiency, not only in material things, but in an atmosphere of peace, in health, in unity, in a quiet joy that no circumstance can steal. I can open doors you never imagined. I can provide through ways you never thought of. I can change the sky above your house even when the ground beneath is still full of difficulties. But I also invite you to cooperate with me. Let me touch the way you live, the way you love, the way you treat your family, because that is the soil where I long to make blessings bloom. When you let your heart soften before me, I will do my part abundantly. What I await from you is not glittering achievements or deeds that make the world applaud. What I long to see is a heart that is upright before me. Come to me as you truly are, without embellishment, without hiding, without wearing a mask of holiness. I can see every corner within you, and I treasure sincerity more than any outward polish. I rejoice when I see you faithful in the small things. A quiet prayer, a gentle choice, a moment you hold back irritation to keep peace for the one you love. That is your part in the covenant between me and you, not to do extraordinary things, but to live each day with the awareness that you belong to me. When you keep your heart steadfast with me and do not run from me when storms arise, you will gradually see heaven's doors open in ways that feel strange, yet deeply tender. My child, this world teaches you to grip tightly, to worry endlessly, to calculate the future at any cost, but I invite you into a way of living that runs against it. Place your trust in me and let me carry the part you cannot. I am not calling you to live irresponsibly. I simply do not want you to turn anxiety into a new idol within your heart. When you whirl only around what you must worry about, your eyes grow dim to what I am quietly arranging for you. Step out of the constant tension. Give your heart a true stillness with me, not to escape life, but to be strengthened, to walk through it. I have prepared spiritual treasures for you, peace, clarity, discernment, courage, but they open only when you choose to lay your worries down and take my hand. I am more moved by a small yes from you than by 1,000 empty promises. Each time you choose to yield to me, even if it is only a simple choice in an ordinary day, my heart still rejoices. You do not realize that a single whisper, "I trust you," in a night when you feel as though you are falling into a deep pit, can stir all of heaven. I am not waiting for you to become perfect before I receive your yes. I delight to see you small, yet still striving to turn toward me amid the many pulls of this life. Remember, you are not saying yes to some unfamiliar force. You are responding to the love of the one who has patiently waited for you through so many years. I never grow tired of hearing you speak with me, even when your words are clumsy, repeated, or mixed with sighs that cannot quite form a sentence. I listen to every father you utter, whether you speak aloud or only whisper within. When you sing, even if your voice trembles or slips off key, I still receive it as praise, more precious than any flawless melody without a heart. When you bow in prayer, I do not measure the length of your words. I look to see whether your heart truly longs for me. In the moments you choose to sit alone with me instead of seeking distraction in what is empty, I count it as a gift you offer. Your love for me is not an illusion. I have watched it grow through each small decision you make simply because you know it delights me. Do not think that I forget the times you were faithful to do what is right, when no one saw, no one praised, no one even mentioned it. I remember every tear you swallowed, every moment you wanted to let go but chose instead to cling to my promise. Every night you prayed for your family in silence. No hidden sacrifice you make for me is ever forgotten in heaven. I have been, and still am, using those very small things to weave a garment of glory for your life, not so you can boast, but so you may become a living sign of my faithfulness. As each day passes, whenever you decide to place me first, you are writing onward a story whose bright ending I already see from above. And when you feel too small, remember this: even the angels bend low to learn of my grace through the lives of people who seem little, yet remain faithful. Today, I gently invite you to set aside your notes, your to-do lists, your tangled thoughts, and simply be with me for this moment. You do not need to prepare beautiful words. You only need to bring your true heart before me. The very hour you open your mouth to pray, even if you have not said everything within you, I have already begun to pour new life into you. I dry the weariness you do not know how to tell anyone, and I heal the fractures you are afraid to name. My grace is sufficient. Stay with me. Do not rush, because in the minutes you think are silent, I am doing my deepest work within your soul. My plans for you are not a cramped, impoverished, narrow path. I want to lead you through doors you never dared to open, bring you into places you never imagined you would fit, and let you experience a kind of flourishing that rises from within, rather than depending on outward circumstances. Even in a season when everyone speaks of hardship, I can still make your life a testimony that I am real, that I care for my children in a way that is personal and distinct. I want your face to be bright, not because you have no problems, but because you know you are being upheld by one greater than every problem. When your eyes grow less dark with anxiety and begin to shine with trust, those around you will sense the difference. I want to make you a small lamp where you live, so that whoever looks at you can recognize there is another light shining through you. In the battles your heart is carrying, I do not stand outside watching and judging. I walk with you into the middle of that struggle, teaching you day by day how not to be swept away by fear. There are moments you think you have hit the bottom, that there is no way back. Yet I still keep you standing by things you cannot fully explain, a peace that makes no sense, a scripture that suddenly becomes alive, a person who unexpectedly sends you a timely word of encouragement. When you must face difficult choices, I do not leave you alone. I still whisper within you, turning your mind toward what is right, even when it is not easy. And even when you have not yet seen the outcome, I'm using those very days of wrestling to drive the roots of faith deeper within you. When life surges, if you must walk through waters up to your neck, I do not promise to remove the flood at once, but I commit that I will not let you sink. If you must pass through refining fire, I do not say I will extinguish the flame immediately, but I assure you it will not consume you the way you fear. I stand in the storm with you, holding your hand firmly to remind you that your strength does not rest in how calm your circumstances are, but in the one you are clinging to. This is the reward for those who do not deny me in dark days. Those who, though still trembling, dare to confess that I am the Lord of their lives. The more you trust, the more you will understand that what holds you is not your own effort, but my arms that have never loosened their grip. Beloved child, I do not cease to call your name not because I lack someone to love, but because I want you never to forget to whom you belong. The world may label you by failure, by your past, by old wounds, but I call you by another name, the child I love, the one I chose, the one I uphold. You are mine. You are my joy. You are the story I am still writing with great hope for its ending. No matter how small, how lost, or how overlooked you may feel, the truth does not change. You are my child, and that alone is enough to redefine your worth entirely. Let this word resound within you. My child, now is the time for you to hold tightly to what I have revealed to your heart as a treasure no one can steal. Do not let it merely pass through your mind as a beautiful thought and then vanish amid the press of worries. Let this truth sink into the depths of your soul. Let it become your breath. Let it become the way you see life and face whatever comes. You no longer need to come to me ashamed or doubting, for I have opened the way for you to draw near to me freely and in peace. Each time you turn back to me, you are not stepping into a courtroom to be put on trial. You are stepping into the embrace of a father who is always waiting for the child he loves. Let this joy slowly grow within you. You have the right to come to me, to speak with me, and to lay down fully what you are carrying on your shoulders without fear of being mocked or diminished. I listen to every word, even the sighs you have not yet managed to name, and I never grow weary of your returning. The more you live aware of this, the less you will seek approval from the world, and the lighter your heart will become when you realize that your safest refuge has always been within me. I long for you to understand that you are not only allowed to ask for great and lofty things, you are also encouraged to bring me the very small matters, the things others might call trivial, but that are weighing heavily on your heart. Do not belittle yourself, and do not think that I am only concerned with the big affairs of the world. Your future, a peaceful meal, simple joy in your family, a full night's rest after a long weary day, all of these are things I see and desire to touch. When you come to me with a simple heart, you will find you no longer have to hide your worries or dress up your emotions to appear strong. I am not asking you to prove yourself, I am asking you to be honest. And it is precisely in that atmosphere of sincerity that I will gradually change the way you think, helping you discern what truly matters and what is only a passing desire, so that you may learn to ask in a way that is wiser, more peaceful, and more in harmony with the good plans I have prepared for you. There are times when you plead with deep longing and wish that what you ask would come quickly, yet all you seem to meet is a prolonged silence. You begin to ask yourself, are you not listening? Have you turned your face away? But my child, be calm and remember what I have whispered into your heart so many times. I never ignore your cry. I simply do everything at the time that is best for you. You see the present from up close, but I see the whole long journey ahead. You see a particular lack here and now, but I see what will truly benefit your soul, your family, and the road that lies before you. If I slow things down, it is not because I am indifferent, but because I am shielding you from things that seem good, yet may harm you later. I love you enough not to indulge every passing demand, and I am faithful enough to give you what is better than what you can imagine for yourself. Therefore, when the answer has not yet come, do not be quick to label it a refusal. See it instead as the time during which I am teaching you to trust more deeply, to learn how to let your heart rest, even when you see no visible change. When you accept that in every circumstance I am always seeking what is best for you, your heart will cease to panic whenever your prayers are not answered as you wish. Instead of restlessness, you will learn to breathe more slowly, to lean your head on my shoulder in prayer, to open your soul and say, Lord, I do not understand everything, but I know you know it all. Please guide me. In that moment, what you receive will not be a loud, spectacular miracle, but a quiet stream of peace seeping into each worry. You will gradually sense that even when nothing on the outside has changed yet, something inside you has become different. Less impatience, less complaining, less comparing yourself with others. I make up for you first with my presence before I make up for you with visible gifts. And when you have been strengthened within, you will be mature enough to receive greater blessings without being pulled off the path I have set for you. I invite you to step more deeply into my grace, not with a few hurried minutes passing by, but with an attitude of remaining, sitting still, opening your heart, and allowing me to speak to you. Do not think that prayer is only reciting a list of things you hope for. Prayer is also the time when you allow me to touch those places in your soul that you have not dared to approach for a long time. Allow yourself to taste my mercy, a mercy that not only forgives your faults, but also heals the wounds that cause you to stumble over and over again. As you linger longer in my presence, you will begin to notice many things you previously overlooked. Deep-rooted fears, tangled emotions, old memories that still bind you. I am not in a hurry with you. I patiently loosen each knot, each tight, tangled strand in your heart, so long as you are willing to let me work. Do not fear silence in prayer, for it is precisely in silence that you can hear my voice most clearly, even if it is only for a very brief moment in the middle of a busy day. When you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and call my name from the deepest place within, I still count that as a complete encounter. I do not demand eloquent words or long hours of prayer before I begin to pay attention to you. As long as you are sincere and turn your heart toward me, even if you only whisper a few simple sentences, I am already there, closer to you than your own heartbeat. Each time you intentionally think of me, whether on your way to work, while washing dishes, or in a quiet moment sitting on your bed before sleep, the invisible wall between us is broken down a little more. You will come to realize that my presence is not confined to a church or a private prayer corner, but woven into every rhythm of life. I walk with you in the market, in the office, in the cafe, in laughter, and in sighs. And the more familiar you become with calling my name, the less alone you will feel in those moments when it seems that no one understands you. When you allow my spirit to touch the very roots of your weariness within your soul, you will discover a kind of consolation that no earthly words can fully describe. It is not a temporary excitement that leaves a void afterward, but a gentle yet enduring support. I wipe away the tears you do not dare cry before others. I soothe the emotions you assumed were too weak and therefore had to be hidden. My spirit knows every tiny crack in your heart and knows exactly how to touch it without causing you further pain. Little by little, you will realize that the things that once crushed you no longer weigh on you as they did before, not because they magically disappear, but because you have learned to lean on me instead of straining to endure everything alone. And in that deep experience, you will form a new habit. Instead of letting your emotions take control, you return to me and let me help you reorder your inner world before you react to life. My child, when you live in that rhythm, coming to me in everything, trusting me in every circumstance, remaining with me in both joy and sorrow, you will find that the battle to protect the peace of your home and your heart is no longer beyond your strength. Storms may still arise and others may still disappoint you at times, but within you, there will be a place that stands firm, a place rooted in my word, in my love, under my arm. From that place, the words you speak will become less sharp, less hasty, less wounding, because you have grown accustomed to listening to me before you speak. From that same place, you will also learn how to respond to failure, loss, and misunderstanding from others with a different spirit, not bitter, not retaliatory, yet still honest and gentle. I want you to become a person whom storms can no longer sweep away, because you have sunk your roots deep into the covenant between you and me. And with every day you choose to return to me in this way, you are drawing closer to the image I desired for you from the beginning. A soul that is free, peaceful, strong, yet still tender and full of mercy, reflecting my very heart in this world so full of turbulence. My child, in the midst of all that I have just taught you about words, about temperament, about preserving peace in your little home, I want you to pause for a moment and listen carefully to the heartbeat of my heart for you. Before every command, before every discipline, before every correction, there is always one unchanging truth. I love you, not a love that comes and goes. I do not love you because you are perfect, nor because you always manage your emotions or your speech well. I love you even when you are clumsy, when you speak wrongly, choose wrongly, hurt others, and then find yourself hurting too. My love does not withdraw each time you fall. It only yearns more deeply to lift you up, wipe the dust from your face, and lead you back to the path of peace I have already laid out. Today, before you try to do anything more, let this truth sink deeply into your soul. You are loved right in your present condition, right in the things you have not yet been able to change, because I love you. I do not want you to remain stuck in a half-hearted, going through the motions kind of life, with days passing in a cycle of exhaustion, irritability, and regret. I long for you to move forward, not with one spectacular leap that makes others applaud, but with small, faithful steps into greater faith, greater strength, greater wisdom, greater love, and greater reverence for my word, for yourself, for your family, and for those around you. Faith is not merely believing that I exist, but daring to believe that my word carries enough weight to change how you live, how you react, how you choose. The strength I desire to give you is not the strength to win every argument, but the strength to keep silent at the right time, to soften when your ego wants to win. The wisdom I reserve for you is not a wisdom that makes you superior to others, but a wisdom that discerns what is from me and what is only the noise of emotions. The love I pour into you is not for you to keep to yourself, but for it to flow out through the way you look at your family, through the tone of your voice when you face those who are weaker than you. My child, I want you not only to listen, but also to respond. Today, I want your own lips to speak to me that you truly choose to trust me. You do not need to perform. You do not need to say beautifully crafted phrases. I am not looking for polished words. I am looking for a sincere heart. You can tell me that you are still weak, still afraid, still often slip with your words, but that in the midst of all that, you still choose to believe that I am greater than the chaos within you. When you say to me, I trust you, I do not stand afar. I am already ready to embrace that whisper and turn it into a new foundation for your journey. I can do countless things for you. I have all power to change circumstances, heal wounds, and open a way through walls of dead ends. But there is one thing I long to see in you: trust. Trusting me is not closing your eyes to ignore reality. It is seeing reality and yet refusing to let it speak the final word. I need your trust not because I lack anything, but because if your heart does not trust me, everything I do for you will be misunderstood, suspected, or taken for granted. A doubtful heart always looks at blessings with guarded eyes, always feels deprived even while being given. I want to rescue you from that constantly defensive way of living. I want your heart not to control you the way people try to control one another, but in order to pour into it things you would never dare receive if you did not trust me. I long for your faith as a father longs for the trusting gaze of a child whose hands are still trembling. That faith does not need to be huge right away. It only needs to be real and willing to grow in my hands. Consider your trust as a gift you bring to me. I do not despise what is small. I only ask that you dare bring it to me instead of clutching it in your hands and complaining that you have nothing. Bring to me what you have, a faith still marked by fear, a heart still mixed with love and resentment, a will that often wants to give up, yet is still trying to hold on. Do not wait until you are strong, eloquent, and perfect before you return to me. If you could do everything on your own, you would no longer need me. You only need to lay it out honestly before me. Lord, this is all I have. Though it is little and clumsy, I offer it to you. The rest I will help you with. I will take that small measure of trust as a starting point to lead you into a new life. As you begin to entrust your heart to me in this way, you will find that your face slowly changes in a way even you cannot fully explain. I do not promise that everything around you will suddenly become easy, but I do promise that your way of seeing will be transformed. From being someone always tense and shrinking back, you will become someone who can still smile even when the day has left many things unresolved. I will make your face radiant, not a showy radiance, but a gentle brightness from within, so that those who are weary and look at you may sense a little hope. I want to use your very countenance, your voice, the way you touch others, to spread my presence to souls who are thirsting for something they cannot yet name. When you allow me to touch your inner being, you will not need to try to appear spiritual. The change will naturally show on your face and in your attitude. I see your pain, even the pain you do not tell anyone because you fear becoming a burden. I see your exhaustion not only in your muscles, but in your nerves, in your very breathing. I am not indifferent to any of it. When you entrust your heart to me, I will begin to bring a true process of healing, not merely a moment of peace that fades again, but a genuine renewing of both your body and your spirit. I may not always heal in the way you imagine, but I will give you new life, fresh strength to keep going, and real rest in my hands. Little by little, I will lead you out of the state of being stretched tight. I also desire to give you something deeper still, a vision, meaning a clearer sight of the path I am calling you to walk, and a steadfast spirit you have not known before. You have been confused, not knowing what you live for, where you should go, why you must strain to hold peace in your home, within your own heart. When you trust me, I will not leave you to wander endlessly in the shadow of uncertainty. I will open your eyes to see the purpose I have placed upon your life. You are not merely someone trying to get through the day. You are one called to carry my presence into your own family, into your daily work, into every encounter. That vision will help you know what to prioritize and what to release, when to speak and when to be silent, when to gently step back to keep harmony, and when to stand firm to guard the truth. And as that vision is etched deep within you, you will no longer be so easily pulled by praise or blame or by sudden anger, because you will know where you are going. A steadfast spirit is not a spirit that never wavers. It is a spirit that, even when it wavers, returns to its first footing in me. I will train your heart day by day, not to make you rigid, but to make you strong and yet gentle. Steadfastness is not shouting loudly, not pretending you need no one. Steadfastness is knowing you belong to me, and therefore no circumstance is permitted to define your worth. I will teach you how to stand when you are misunderstood, how to keep peace when conflict arises, how to choose a gentle word even when something inside you wants to react sharply. Each time you return to me after a stumble, I will add to you a little more steadiness. Little by little, over the years, you will realize you no longer collapse so easily beneath the things that once knocked you down. My child, I do not only want you to receive and keep these things to yourself, I want you to become a living witness to many. Not a witness through long speeches, but through the way you live, the way you face pressure, wounds, and everyday frictions. I will place you among relationships, situations, and conversations where simply holding peace and speaking with right measure will make others sense something different. I want to use you to remind them that there is still a way of being present that is not shouting to win, not staying silent to avoid, but gentle without weakness, meek yet weighty. You will become a small mirror reflecting my light, not a blinding light that makes people afraid, but a warm light that draws them near. And because I honor your words, I also want you to recognize that there is a very real power in your mouth. I will place within your speech an influence that carries life and death, not in the sense of frightening magic, but because a single sentence from you can lift a soul up or push it down. When you allow me to be Lord of your heart, I will reshape the way you use your tongue. I do not want you to use words to curse, to twist the truth, to belittle, because such words do not only wound others, they also darken your own spirit. I want your words to become a channel of healing, timely encouragement, humble apology, sincere counsel, without bitterness. Every word you speak in my spirit can become a seed of life sown into the heart of someone who is worn thin. Therefore, I invite you into a new journey, a journey of faith placed wholly in me, a journey of a heart that knows it is loved, and therefore dares to love, dares to honor my word, dares to honor yourself and those who live alongside you. I do not stand far off to criticize. I am drawing near to take your hand. You can speak to me even now, in this very moment, with the simplest words that you want to believe. You want to walk with me. You want to let me touch your emotions, your speech, your spirit, and your future. I will not refuse that invitation. I will walk with you through each day, each conversation, each time you are about to flare up, each moment you feel tender and weak. I will gently remind you, uphold you, correct you, and comfort you. And if you keep believing, keep returning even when your rhythm falters, I will fulfill in you what I have promised, to make your face radiant, to renew your soul, to make the vision within you clear, and to turn your life into a living proof of my love and power in a world that desperately needs light. When peaceful days pass by, you may think what I teach you about words, about presence, about gentleness in the family is only for small moments. But my child, those seemingly small things are the foundation for the great battles you will face. There will be mornings when you wake and nothing goes according to plan, unexpected messages, unannounced problems, doors you thought were certain closing right before your eyes. There will also be nights when you sit still in a dark room, everything outside silent, yet your mind full of noise, as though the whole world is against you alone. Yet I have never stepped beyond the boundaries of your life in any chaotic morning or weary long night. I remain there, quietly watching every breath, every tightening in your chest. When you feel the most alone is when I am the nearest. Even if your emotions do not tell you so, I want you to understand that my presence does not depend on your mood. It is anchored in the covenant I have promised you from before the ages. Many times I whisper to your soul, I am with you. I will raise you up, not as a comforting phrase to make you feel better, but as a confirmation of your true identity in this battle. I do not lead you into a fight, only to abandon you on the battlefield. Nor do I allow storms to surround you without the invisible fence of protection I have set around your life. Every trial that passes by is not to prove you are weak, but to uncover a strength you yourself have not yet realized you carry. I know there are times you ask within, why me? Why must I take so many blows? But, my child, it is not because you are forgotten that the wind comes looking for you. It is because you are chosen for greater things that the wind refuses to let you rest. If I only wanted you to live a life of shrinking back, I would have left you safe within comfort. But because I want you to become a warrior, I allow fire to touch you so what is firm within you may be forged. My support is not removing every hardship, but giving you the ability to stand upright even while your legs tremble. You must understand that the blessing I have prepared for you is not a small gift, easy to hold, easy to keep. It is greater than you imagine. And for that very reason, you must be trained to be able to carry it without being shaken. If your inner world is still fragile, if your emotions are easily pulled, if your faith is knocked off course by a single contrary wind, then even the blessing can become a weight that steals your breath. I love you too much to give you what your soul is not yet mature enough to bear. That is why successive trials are not a chain of punishments, but a personal training program I have designed specifically for your life, with precision that does not miss by even a hair. I want your soul no longer swept away each time trouble knocks at the door. I want you to learn to be calm and look to me instead of only looking at what is happening before your eyes. When problems appear, I do not wait for you to collapse and only then come near. I am already standing there, waiting for you to lift your head and find my gaze again in the midst of that whirlwind. Many people on this earth are carrying great battles within them: debt, illness, collapse, fractured relationships, doors that keep shutting in front of their future. I see it all. I know there are souls crying out yet afraid to open their mouths. eyes that smile on the outside but are drenched within, hearts that seem strong yet could shatter with just a single word. In the midst of countless hardships, I have allowed you to remain standing, not because you are better than others, but because I have placed in you an endurance, a resilience, a depth of faith you have not fully recognized. And for that very reason, the battle around you can seem fiercer, the attacks against you more relentless, the seasons in which you feel tested more frequent. That does not mean you are being singled out for suffering. It simply shows you are on the front line of a spiritual war your eyes cannot fully see. The one who opposes your soul knows very well who you are in my eyes, so it does not aim at what is peripheral. It goes straight for what is deepest: your purpose, your longing, your faith, your emotions, your steadfastness. It may use circumstances to shake you, but what it truly wants is to make you doubt me, doubt yourself, and doubt the path you are walking. It whispers that you have been abandoned, that your pleas are unheard, that every effort to trust is pointless. It pushes you into comparison, comparing strength, achievements, blessings, so you grow weary of your own life and retreat from the place where I have stationed you. I do not stop those arrows by erasing every circumstance, but I give you weapons, my word, my presence, my promises spoken over your life. If you forget those weapons, you will feel empty-handed, but if you remember and grasp them, you will realize that no power can suffocate the faith I have ignited within you. I call you a warrior not to increase the pressure on you, but to remind you that you are not the victim of any circumstance. A warrior is not someone who never gets tired, but someone who, even when tired, chooses not to drop the weapon. You may cry, you may feel weak, you may have days when you do not want to take another step, but as long as you do not let go of me, you are still standing in the right place. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I use you. I use your wounds as testimony. I use your tears to water seeds of hope in others. Each time you fall and still rise again, you are writing another line into the story of victory I am telling through your life. Do not take lightly the fact that you still believe, still pray, still turn toward me in the middle of so much shaking. This is the mark of a true warrior in my kingdom. And my child, you are not alone on this battlefield. Around you is an army unseen by human eyes, the soldiers of heaven ever ready, surrounding you. Each time you sigh in exhaustion, yet still choose to say, Lord, I put my hope in you, that army tightens its formation, blocking spears you do not even realize are flying toward you. You think you are simply enduring a hard day, but in truth, a spiritual movement is taking place around you, where I dispatch heavenly hosts to keep you from falling into traps deeper than you could imagine. Every small prayer, every groan you lift to me, every choice you make out of love for me is never overlooked. They rise, and I use them to reinforce the protective boundary around your soul. I want you to learn to view your life not only by what your eyes can see, but by faith that you are surrounded by a keeping beyond understanding. All of this leads to a very specific invitation. Stand firm in what I have spoken, and do not let any other voice grow louder than mine within your heart. Standing firm does not mean you never sway. It means that even when you sway, you return to the direction I have taught you to look. When you wake to a day full of trials, instead of being swept up by what is unexpected, let my promises be the foundation of your first thoughts. When something in the middle of the day hurts you or disappoints you, pause for a beat, even in silence for a few seconds, so you remember that I have said you are not alone in this battle. When night comes, even if you only have strength for a few short words to me, those short words are still the tether that keeps you from drifting into the abyss of sorrow. I do not demand that you be strong by the world's standard. I only ask that you do not let go of my word from your hands. Then one day, when you look back on the road you have traveled, you will be surprised that what once seemed impossible was being used for your good all along. The days you felt cornered were used as a hidden classroom to teach you how to fight, not with loud shouting, but with quiet, persevering faith. The nights you cried from weariness, I gathered each tear into something precious, an oil I poured over the dry places within you, so that in the right season you will find yourself softer, deeper, and more filled with compassion for others than before. The blessings waiting ahead are not mere compensation. They are the reward of a soul that has allowed me to shape it through every stormy season. Then you will understand that my army surrounding you, the battles you have walked through, the whispers I placed in your heart, all of it has been writing one story together, The story of a child not driven by life's winds, but guided by my hand through every fierce gust. And within that story, you will recognize what I told you from the beginning. You are not only a survivor, you are a warrior. I trust you. Understand one deeper thing. Every true victory in your life, from the small battles in your emotions to the great battles in your circumstances, has already been prepared for you within my treasury of grace. There is nothing you will need that I have not foreseen. No battle you will face for which I have not already arranged a way out. And the key that opens that treasury is the simple trust you place in me in the hours when it feels as though you have nothing left to cling to. Each time you bring me your sighs, your prayers from the depths, however clumsy, however incomplete, I still receive them as seeds sown in the soil of heaven. And I never allow a single seed to fall without bearing fruit. I listen, I arrange, I provide in my way, sometimes not as you expect, but always better than what you could sketch within your own mind. Yet, my child, when I open my hand to give you more than you can imagine, when the door of blessing opens wide, I do not want to see you turn those gifts into a stage to prove you are more special than anyone else. I do not want to hear you sound a trumpet to the world that you are favored, as if the purpose of blessing is to make others look up to you rather than look toward me. I know human nature craves recognition and praise, but what I give is not meant to feed the hunger for attention. It is meant to forge a heart that uses what it has, for what is eternal, for family, for those lacking both material and spiritual support, for souls that need a hand reached out at the right time. So I tell you gently, yet very seriously, do not turn what I place in your hands into boasting on your lips. Do not run everywhere, telling your story just to collect more admiring eyes. Because each time you pull people's gaze toward yourself instead of leading them to me, you are stripping the blessing of its original purity. There are forces in the darkness that linger at the edges of your life, never sleeping, watching how you use the gifts I give. When you live humbly, quietly, keeping what is holy, with wise restraint, they have little chance to reach in. But when you carelessly display what I have entrusted, when you unintentionally stir comparison or awaken envy in others, you unknowingly signal to destroyers that there is something worth attacking. I have seen more than once how you suffered loss, how things were snatched from your hands, not because I did not protect you, but because your impulsiveness, your haste, your lack of watchfulness opened a door for the thief to enter. They have stolen joy, time, opportunities, even precious relationships in your life. And I, as a father, do not want to see that wound repeated in your heart again simply because you did not learn the lesson of carefulness in time. That is why today I use this very means, these very words you are reading, to touch your mind firmly yet gently, to wake you from the mindset that blessing exists merely to be spent for pleasure or to prove you are not beneath anyone. I want you to realize this is not a casual note but a true alarm bell, a message I am sending directly to you to prepare your heart for what I am about to place in your hands. I will open my hand to give you more, wider, deeper than you have ever expected. I will lead you out of cramped places so you step into a different space where you have enough and are no longer scrambling day by day. This is real, and no one, no power, can stop my intent once I have decided to pour blessing into your life. But I do not need someone who only knows how to receive. I am looking in you for the heart of a faithful steward, a child who understands that you are a keeper, not the absolute owner of what you hold. I want you to trust my word more than the shifting of circumstances, to believe that even if this season does not yet look like what I promised, I am still working. I want you to learn to stand in abundance and still keep simplicity, to live in plenty and still not let your heart harden toward another's pain. Engrave this. Every thought you have when money, opportunity, and relationships are involved, every decision you make when you are in a favorable position, reveals whether you treat blessing as private property or as an instrument in my hand. When you give, I touch your sincere effort and make it bear more fruit than you expect. I gather your hidden deeds and turn them into a river that flows to places you have never set foot. But if you use what I have given you to feed a spirit of rivalry, to answer back at the world, to retaliate against those who once looked down on you, then the blessing will become a burden because it will drag you into battles I never sent you to fight. A blessing is truly a blessing only when it is placed in the right position, for the right purpose, with the right focus that I hold in my heart. I am inviting you into a new way of living, where each time you receive something good, your first reflex is not, how can I make people know about this? But Lord, how can I use this in a way that aligns with your will? From that question I will open your understanding, lead you to the places you need to appear, the people you need to support, the needs you have not yet noticed. I will teach you to use blessings sown into dry circumstances, and then you will be surprised when you look back, seeing that your life is not only outwardly abundant, but also rich with meaning. Do not fear that living wisely, quietly, discreetly will leave you at a disadvantage in my kingdom. No sacrifice is anonymous. No humble choice is wasted. In those moments when you refuse to display in order to protect the purity of your heart, I take note, and I use your willingness to step back to position you where only those who know how to bow low can stand firm. And remember this, from today onward, every step you take, every decision in finances and work, every way you respond when you are praised or entrusted with more, these are the very places where I am refining your heart to see whether you are ready to become a steward of blessing rather than merely a consumer of blessing. If you choose wisdom, choose caution, choose discernment in the light of my word, I will not only preserve what you have, but I will cause it to increase, to become secure, and to spread. My child, now that you understand that peace in your home, in your heart, and in every word you speak is also part of your spiritual front line, I invite you to take one more step. Practice living with an awareness of my presence, not only in solemn hours, but in the smallest moments of each day. In the morning, when you first open your eyes, before you are swept into messages, work, and pressure, turn your heart toward me. One simple whisper, Lord, I'm here, is enough to open a new space for your day. You do not need ornate prayers to catch my attention, for I have watched over you from before you even knew to call my name. What I await is not outward form, but a heart that seeks me before seeking anything else. If you learn the habit of coming to me each morning, not as a duty, but as an appointment you long for, you will find your soul gradually reshaped in the quiet, and your whole day anchored by a sacred moment you set apart for me. You often think I am far away, but I have never taken my eyes off you for even a single breath. I know what you do well. I see your small efforts as you try to keep calm, keep gentle, keep faith in the middle of things that make you want to let go. I also see the hidden corners you try to conceal, the weaknesses you fear facing, the times you spoke too sharply and made the ones you love feel sorrow. But, my child, I do not turn my back on you because of these things. I do not withdraw my love because you are not yet perfect. If I loved only the perfect, no one could stand before my holy presence. What I seek in you is not a spotless record with no scratches, but a heart that knows how to return, how to be humble, how to admit it needs me every day. I am not discouraged by your stumbles. My grief comes only when you think I would no longer want to look upon you. What I long to see take root in the depths of your soul is a simple, yet steadfast faith, never too loud, yet quietly burning, never showy, yet enduring, a hope that is not drowned by numbers, applause, or criticism. I want to see in you a perseverance that does not shatter each time opposition rises, a steadiness that is not swept away by seasons when people support you one day and turn their backs the next. I do not demand that you become a spiritual superhero. I only want you to choose to stand with me in each small decision, so that little by little your soul depends less on emotion and clings more tightly to the unchanging truth that I love you and I am leading you forward. My eyes do not sleep, and each day I still look across the earth to find hearts that want to belong to me. Among countless faces, I pause over you not because you are better than anyone else, but because you once softly whispered to me in lonely nights, Lord, if you truly hear me, please don't leave me alone. And I remember those words as a father cherishes every sob of his child. Today, I want you to know this. Not one silent cry of yours falls into empty space. Not one tear of yours is left unattended as though it speaks nothing. Everything is kept within my remembrance. You have longed to touch the holy. You have desired an invisible, yet utterly real embrace to hold you through nights you cannot speak about to anyone. And I am the one you have been dreaming of, even when you have not dared to believe that such love could truly be for you. You have heard about me. You have read lines written about me. You have listened to others. You may even know many things about me by heart. But I do not want to remain a mere concept in your mind. I want to become the one you yourself experience, the one you can whisper, I have tasted, and I know that you are good, not because someone told you to repeat it, but because you have lived it. A day will come, if you do not give up, if you keep seeking, keep opening your heart, keep bringing your questions to me instead of turning away, when the eyes of your heart will see me more clearly than any theory, not with physical sight, but with a deep certainty within your soul that no longer trembles before waves of doubt. I want to lead you to the place where you can say, I know you are here, even when your emotions are no longer as thrilled as they once were. My glory is not confined to formal gatherings or special moments. I can reveal myself upon anyone I choose, even upon you, who at times thinks you are too ordinary to be worthy of the supernatural. I do not look for the perfect, I look for the willing. I can give you deeper illumination, fresh understanding of my word, encounters filled with power that heal you inwardly, teaching you to forgive, to humble yourself, to rise again after failure. These are not experiences for you to boast about, but stones I use to build within you a foundation of maturity, so you no longer waver under trial. Each time I reveal my glory to you is a time I draw you farther from shallowness, farther from the habit of seeking me only for comfort, and into the land where you cooperate with me, so that your very life becomes a sign of me to others. Therefore, today, instead of continuing to drape yourself in heavy, worn-out garments, pessimistic thoughts about yourself, self-condemning sentences, painful memories replayed endlessly in your mind, I call to you, gently lay them down. You were not born to carry all your disappointments as though they were a destiny you must accept. I invite you into an inward change of clothing before anything outside changes. Let me help you remove each layer, the garment of gloom, the garment of shame, the garment of inferiority, the garment of fear that you have worn so long you assumed it was part of you. I want to clothe you with something else, a garment of joy not dependent on circumstances, a purity that comes from knowing you have been forgiven, and a sincerity that makes you brave enough to live truthfully with me and with others without fear of rejection. You do not need to perform before me, for I have long seen everything within you. What I await is the moment you are courageous enough to come before me, with all that you carry, with wounds, with smiles, with failures, with unfinished dreams, and say, Lord, here I am. Please renew me. When you say that, I will not ignore you. I will begin a gentle yet profound work within you, as though I am rethreading the seams of your soul, mending what is torn, removing the clumsy patches, until you slowly become the one I saw from the beginning. A child who knows they are loved, knows they are chosen, knows they are being led, and knows that even while storms remain, there is an invisible, yet very real, hand holding their heart so it does not break apart. And as you learn to keep peace for your household in this way, I draw near to you with an intention both tender and strong. I want to release my blessing over your life in a way more fresh than you have imagined. If in past seasons you only came to me with hurried whispers in the middle of worries, now I invite you to open the door of your heart. Speak to me with the deepest sincerity within you, that you are willing for me to enter far deeper, not only to touch your hands and your lips, but to touch even the places you have not dared to name. The moment you agree to open in that way, it is not merely an emotional act, but a spiritual turning point where the distance between you and me is shortened, where the walls you built around your heart begin to soften under the warmth of my presence. The year you are living is not merely a number passing on a calendar. It is a moment I have marked to bring about profound changes within you, so that from that inner place, new things can blossom outward into your life, your family, your dreams, and your journey. I do not come merely to fix a few small matters, nor to touch your life briefly and then depart. I come to awaken within you what for so long you thought was only a distant dream, to restore what you believed had withered, and to accomplish things that will leave even you in awe, because you will know with certainty this cannot be your strength alone. This is the hand of God at work. My mighty arm is not a symbolic image, but a living reality reaching to touch your heart, touching the tender places you often avoid, the wounded memories, the restrained disappointments, the anxieties you tell no one. Yet I know every layer, every fold within your soul. I come not to condemn, but to soothe, not to expose you before the world, but to draw you into a hidden place where it is only you and me, so that I may whisper into your ear words that no sound of this life can swallow. Therefore, do not take this message lightly as a passing comfort. Keep it in your heart, cherish it with love, with gratitude, with a longing to live according to the meaning I have placed within you. I want your face no longer covered by the shadow of worry and bitterness, but lit with a smile rising from the deepest place of your soul. where you know you are not alone, where you know you are being led step by step by the one who sees the whole road ahead. Let your eyes stop staring only at what has not gone as you wished, and begin to recognize my footprints in the things that seem so small in your day, from the breath you draw each morning to the unexpected little opportunities, even to the moments one door closes so that a safer door may open. I am your God, the everlasting Father of your soul, and I do not watch you from a distance. I am quietly extending my hand to guide you through every place you go, every relationship you encounter, every decision you make, decisions that sometimes surprise even you with the courage you find to choose. I have arranged things not to push you into fear, but to forge you into someone far stronger, calmer, and more resilient than the fragile image you often hold of yourself. Day by day, I am loosening from you the invisible cords of fear, the hazy clouds of anxiety that at times bind you so tightly you no longer dare to dream, no longer dare to step forward, only daring to exist from one day to the next. I do not want you merely to exist. I want you to live. Live with the steadiness of one who knows they are sheltered. Live with the boldness of one who understands the future is not in the hands of chance, but in the hands of one who is wise and kind. In the spiritual realm, often unseen by your natural eyes, there is still a quiet yet fierce battle unfolding over your life, your family, your marriage, your calling, and your future, between forces that seek to pull you away from my purpose and my power that is at work to keep you standing firm. That is why at times you sense strange winds passing through your household, pressures piling up until you feel you cannot endure, not to accuse you of weakness, but to reveal to you that you cannot withstand it alone. You need me, and I am ready to fight for you. I strengthen you not with a fleeting rush of excitement, but with a new inner power born from the deepest place of fellowship between you and me. I am training you to become someone who knows when to be silent, when to speak, when to kneel, when to rise. Someone not driven by the chaos around them, but who knows to whom they belong in the whirl of life. I am shaping you into courage, not from stubbornness, but from trust, not from trying to appear strong, but from knowing how to cling to me. Those around you, whether they understand it or not, will eventually see the change in you, the way you respond under pressure, the way you choose peace instead of noise, the way you answer with gentleness, even when you are misunderstood. They will notice something different in you that even you may struggle to describe, the spiritual authority I have placed upon you, not authority to push others down, but authority to no longer bow to the invisible chains that held you for far too long. When storms strike, I do not promise you will never feel the wind lash your face, but I assure you that you will no longer be someone who turns and runs as easily as before. You will learn to stand still, to listen to me even within the roar of the storm, and to realize there are battles not meant for you to avoid, but meant for you to witness how my hand intervenes. You will no longer flee from the enemy in panic, because you know you do not fight alone, and even in prayer, you will not drag yourself before me. I encourage you to believe that none of your cries fall into an empty void. Every sigh, every tear, every word you speak in the secret place is recorded by me. Nothing is overlooked. When you bring your needs before me, I do not see them as a tangled list. I see them through my love for you and your family. I arrange, I guide, I make a way, often in a manner you will only recognize later. Therefore, instead of coming to me with suspicion, I want you to come with the posture of a child who trusts that their father has an answer, a timing, a perfect way beyond all human limited plans. Let your heart bow before me, not with timid fear, but with reverence that rises from realizing how great, how good, and how near I truly am. Stretch out the hands of your soul to receive, for I do not come empty-handed. I come with solutions beyond what you can manage, with comfort beyond all earthly consolations, with a kind of peace no outward circumstance can shake. I am the one who formed the universe, and I am also the one who planted faith within your heart. I am both the beginning and the keeper of that faith. I am the sure guarantee that the good things I have promised will not be lost halfway. The certainty that even what you have not seen, not touched, not understood, is still being prepared by me in silence. And through that faith, not blind faith, but faith founded on my faithfulness, you will have strength to continue fighting each day with perseverance, not by human strength, but by the power of my Spirit poured out upon you. You will fight, but not with confusion. You will fight with the peace of one who knows the final outcome has already been determined in my hands. You will overcome, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you hold fast to the one who has never lost a single battle. My child, as you learn to guard an atmosphere of love within your small home, this is not only to bring comfort to those beside you, it is also the beginning of my shaping you into someone who can face greater battles beyond those walls. For this life is not only gentle words at the dinner table, it also holds attacks, contemptuous looks, invisible pressures that seek to break your soul. I do not hide this from you, yet I do not leave you trembling, for I know you were created not to live with your head bowed. Within you I have planted a spirit of courage, and now I want to awaken it, so you will recognize you were not born to keep avoiding, but to face and to overcome with me. What you have learned within the four walls of your family, gentleness, emotional discipline, the wisdom of choosing words will become quiet yet powerful weapons when you step into places filled with conflict and pressure. And from that foundation, I will lead you into a deeper dimension of victory, not only keeping peace, but standing firm against every force that seeks to crush your faith. It is time for you to understand that you are not as small as people think you are, and not as weak as circumstances try to plant within your heart. There are mountains before you that look immovable. There are people, systems, and words that make you feel small. But do not measure yourself by what rises against you. Measure yourself by the one who is with you, by the love that called your name, by the hand that has held your life from before you ever knew how to say Father. The opposition you imagine to be gigantic is, in truth, often only the shadow of fear when I am no longer in the right place within your vision. When you set me back as your support, those things will shrink in your eyes, and you will understand you are not the one being threatened. You are the one who carries light that causes darkness to falter. I do not tell you to deny hardship. I teach you to look straight at it with the awareness that you do not stand alone. You will encounter mocking words aimed at your outward weakness. There will be those who repeat again and again that you have nothing in your hands, no position, no backing, no conditions to dare to dream of great things. I hear every one of those words, and I see how they slip into your mind, trying to sow a sense of inferiority. But, my child, people only see the surface of your life. They cannot see the invisible hand that has sheltered you through seasons you thought you would never survive. They do not see the times I wiped your tears in the quiet of the night. They do not hear the whispers you breathed when no one remained at your side. They do not know that behind a person judged as insignificant is the love of the one who made heaven and earth, quietly upholding every step. I do not need them to understand. I only need you to believe that no belittling voice has the right to define who you are. For when you know you belong to me, you will stop allowing those voices to rule over your soul. When you feel exposed before forces greater than you, when you look at your hands and find them empty, no tools, no capital, no connections, I do not deny that lack, but I will not allow it to become your excuse to surrender. Have you forgotten that there are battles not won by the number of weapons, but by faith rooted in my word? I am your resource, your wisdom, your pathway through corridors that seem sealed shut. A small stone in the hand of one who holds firmly to me is stronger than an armory in the hands of one who does not have me. I do not require you to be enough by the world's standards. I ask only this: will you give me enough room to act? When you place your limitations into my hands, I can turn them into a bridge that carries you across what looks impossible. Do not forget that my true place in your life is not a comforting idea meant to soothe the spirit, but a real refuge in the midst of war. I am the shield around you, the wall that covers you, the place you can run to at any moment and never be refused. I do not watch from afar, nor do I fold my arms and leave you to manage alone. I am always very near, so near that even a small inward whisper is enough for me to answer. Every malicious plan, every scheme meant to trample your faith, I see before you do. I will not permit them to touch your soul beyond what I have sifted and turned into an opportunity for you to grow. When you become aware of this, you will no longer panic at threats, because you will know that one stronger than all stands between you and every arrow aimed at you. I want you to understand that victory in your hands does not come from the rush of emotion in brief moments of prayer, but from the deep, enduring communion between you and me each day. There will be stretches of road where you feel very little, no trembling with awe, no palpable holy atmosphere. Yet, in those seemingly dry days, I am quietly strengthening what is within you. When you hold to that, you will be able to stand firm, even when your heart has not yet felt strong. You will learn to choose to keep walking, not because you are excited, but because you know I am holding your hand. I have also placed on your lips a power you have often overlooked, the words you speak from faith in my word. When you declare my promises over sickness, over fear, over the unseen chains that bind you, you are allowing my life to flood the dark places you thought had no hope left. It is not eloquence that makes power, but faith. When you say to me, I choose what you have spoken over what my eyes can see. I do not promise that every physical condition will vanish in an instant, but I do promise that no pain, whether in body or in soul, can separate you from my care. And I know how to use the frailty of the body to teach you to lean on me more deeply, to cherish life, to have compassion for the suffering, to use even your own wound to wipe another's tears. Victory over sickness is not only the healing of the body, it is also a soul that is not swallowed by despair. Do not think you are alone inside the ring of opposition. The powers of darkness may be loud, may intimidate, may boast of strength, but they cannot stand before a heart resolved to cling to the covenant I have established. You do not need to shout to prove you belong to me. You only need to remain faithful in the small things. Keep your heart upright, refuse compromise, and do not let yourself be swept along with the crowd that chooses the easy road. The day will come when what tries to frighten you into retreat will back away, not because you are terrifying, but because it recognizes you are covered by the one it cannot touch. Your strength is not in outward appearance, but in whose side you stand on and whom you choose to trust. As you persevere, I call you not merely to survive, but to experience what many only ever hear about, that in the darkest days, you can still carry a peace no one can explain. I lead you through each season, from learning to guard your words, to protect your home, to daring to walk forward in the face of contempt, to realizing you have been equipped to shelter the vulnerable, to speak for the forgotten, to embrace the souls others dismiss as useless. When you do this, you are with me in protecting the little ones in the eyes of the world, yet precious in my heart. I anoint your life not so you can live quietly for yourself, but so you can become a refuge for the weary. You will be surprised to see that you who once thought yourself small can become a steady place of support, a strength for those around you. And in all these things, I do not forget your own fragile soul. I know there are nights you lie down exhausted to the very end, confused as to why you must pass through so much. I know there are moments you nearly want to let go, to give up, to stop trying. Yet in what seems impossible, I am still at work. I do not promise you a path without tears, but I do promise that not one tear will be meaningless. I gather them, I remember them, I use them to water the seeds of hope that you do not even realize I planted in your heart long ago. A day will come when you look back and see those bleak days were only the opening chapter of a new story, where your smile no longer trembles from strain, but rises from a heart that has truly been healed by me. Beloved child, I am leading you from merely defending yourself into walking with the posture of one who has been promised victory. Not so you become proud, but so you stop being afraid. Not so you rise above others, but so you know you are no longer bound by the past, by prejudice, by voices that once crushed your dignity. Days of mourning do not last forever because I will not allow darkness to have the final word in your life. I hold your hand not for a moment, but for the whole journey. Every step you agree to take with me is a step farther from the shadowed place that once held you back. And even if you cannot yet see everything clearly, trust this. I am leading you out of heavy days and into a new season where your soul rests in the peace I give, a peace no battle and no power can ever take from you again. Now, with a heart that trembles, yet trusts, I lift my eyes and offer to God my most sincere prayers. Almighty God, who has held my hand from the beginning, today I come before you with a heart still marked with many scratches, yet longing to learn how to rest in your hands. So many times I have tried to be strong on my own, to shoulder every burden by myself, to prove that I am fine, only to collapse in exhaustion. Teach me to let go of my own will, to place my small hand into your mighty, yet gentle hand, so I no longer have to walk through darkness alone. Heal the quiet fears, the worries I do not dare to name, and let me taste deeply the joy of a child who knows they are loved and kept. Help me believe that no matter what valley I must walk through, you walk with me, and that my true happiness is not found in how much I can control, but in your faithful presence along the path of my life. Merciful Father in heaven, there are days when my heart is flooded with accusing voices, replaying every fault, every stumble, every wrong decision from the past, until I feel ashamed and afraid even of myself. Today, I bring all of it before you without hiding, without embellishing, without excuses. Wash away these accusations echoing within me by the stream of your grace, so I no longer punish myself for what you have already paid for on the cross. Teach me to receive forgiveness as a gift, not as something I must earn to deserve. Give me the courage to open even the darkest corners, trusting that nothing in me lies beyond your healing reach. And let my past, instead of becoming a chain that imprisons me, become living testimony of your mercy and your unchanging love. Beloved Jesus, who stooped into the mud to lift sinners to their feet, I know there are people who do not believe I can change, eyes that wait for me to fall, rumors that take pleasure in my failure. In those moments, my heart easily sinks. I want to quit. I begin to think I have no value left. Draw me out of the narrow gaze of this world, that I may hide myself in your compassionate eyes, where I am called by name, not by my past. Stand up for me amid injustice, not so I may seek revenge, but so my very life becomes a gentle yet powerful answer to your faithfulness. Grant me enough stillness that I do not have to argue or prove myself, but simply remain faithful to walk with you day by day, trusting that you yourself will be my advocate and defender in your way. Loving and merciful Father, I thank you for the vast forgiveness I could never deserve, yet I freely receive it because of your love. Thank you for lifting from me the burden of self-accusation, and for helping me understand that I do not need to live forever as someone indebted to the past. Thank you that each time I return, you do not shut the door. You do not rehearse old failures, but you open your arms wide and call me your beloved child. Thank you that my sorrowful past, under the light of grace, is slowly becoming a story of your mercy, rather than a sentence weighing on my shoulders. May this gratitude help me live more gently with myself and with others, for I know that every one of us is being patiently taught by you each day. Gentle and humble Jesus, I thank you for the times you have stood with me amid misunderstanding, injustice, the surging waves of public opinion, and the suspicious eyes of the world. Thank you that you do not allow slander to have the final word over my life, but quietly raise me up and lead me through each difficult season. Thank you for letting me taste a peace that does not come from being vindicated immediately, but from knowing that you see, you know, and you never abandon me. Thank you that on the loneliest stretches of the road I have felt most clearly your hidden, yet profoundly real companionship. Please help me not to forget this grace, so that when I have the chance to support someone who is wounded, I can offer this prayer in the holy name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to